First of all, I would like to thank Prime Minister Modi for the opportunity to join this very important forum. I congratulate India on its presidency of the G20 this year. We see India's chairmanship as a well-deserved recognition of its global standing and influence. India's scientific and technological achievements, economic potential, its human diversity, and intellectual heritage all offer evidence of a nation that has a unique role in accelerating global progress. Distinguished friends, following the devastation of the global COVID-19 pandemic and uneven economic recovery, the international community now faces increased polarization. We stand uncomfortably close to the edge of a less predictable, more chaotic future of exacerbated tensions and conflicts. For the first time in 2 generations, we are witnessing a worrying increase in references to the use of nuclear weapons. Economic and political sanctions have become a new norm that erodes supply chains and threatens the food security of millions, especially in vulnerable communities. Prices for basic commodities went drastically up. Finally, this crisis held back the urgent action we agreed to in 2015 to combat climate change and enhance sustainable development. Kazakhstan is firmly determined to forge dialogue and find common ground at the global level. We believe that countries that overcome these historic challenges, provided that we will be acting together. But to achieve this, we must keep open the doors to launch political dialogue for paving the way for a fair, interconnected, and resilient global economy. In this context, South cooperation has become the expression of collaboration and partnership among the countries of the South. Our purpose is the same. We seek true development, one might say betterment, for our countries and people. From my perspective, several key issues emerge from this summit for the G20 agenda. First, we need to get back on track for the Sustainable Development Goals. It's high time to move beyond lip service. Therefore, we consider it as essential to establish a UN regional center for SDGs for Central Asia and Afghanistan in Kazakhstan. Such a center will enable the most effective coordination of UN project activities in the region. Second, the fight against climate change requires greater resources. Temperatures in Central Asia are rising faster than the global average. At a greater scale, we observe the same negative tendency mostly in southern part of our planet. Over the past few years, our 5 countries have seen terrible droughts. Climate change requires greater international cooperation and solidarity. Many of us have already taken bold steps. Kazakhstan is moving gradually towards carbon neutrality goal. But to save our planet, we need investment at greater levels than we have ever seen. Climate action cannot come at the expense of development or modernization. They must go hand in hand. Sharpening differences between developed and developing countries reflect disagreements on the energy transition, which must be driven largely by economic and technological advantages. We look to the international community to urgently scale up its commitment to greater meaningful climate finance. On our part, the Astana International Financial Center stands ready to stimulate and support green investments, technology transfers, knowledge sharing, and innovation. Third is water security. Today, 1 in 6 people do not have access to safe drinking water. According to UN report, more than 5 billion people could suffer water shortages by 2050 due to climate change. Water scarcity and insecurity undermine the food, energy, urban, and ecological systems of our countries. All this increases economic and geopolitical tensions and instability. Eventually, these consequences could have a profound impact on security throughout the world, and especially the global south, which is becoming more prone to droughts. Therefore, I propose to introduce a system of exclusive rights and preferences for water technology transfers that would stimulate the regional and equitable use of water resources. Fourth, we need an effective mechanism to protect and improve food security. Kazakhstan, as the world's 7th largest grain producer, is committed to utilizing its agricultural potential to fight global food insecurity. It is imperative that food and fertilizers be excluded from any sanctions or restrictions. In other words, Mr. Prime Minister, we agree with your call to depoliticize the global supply of food, fertilizers, and medical products. We are actively cooperating with the World Food Programme and the UN Food and Agriculture Organization to provide wheat flour as humanitarian assistance to the Afghan people. In this context, I encourage active use of partnerships like the Islamic Organization for Food Security to help ensure food security primarily in developing countries. Fifth is the global transit and transport infrastructure. Disruptions in global supply chains require us to take a fresh look at diversifying the global transit and transport infrastructure. In this regard, the Trans-Caspian International Transport Route, Middle Corridor, has received a new impetus. Today, a large part of land traffic along both the east and west, north and south corridors passes freely through the territory of Kazakhstan. Meanwhile, the continued importance of Russia as a transit territory for supplying Kazakh basic commodities to the international market is out of question. In the long term, we see many opportunities for these routes to work in synergy with other global transit transport corridors, providing diverse options for suppliers and consumers across the world. Kazakhstan stands ready to cooperate with all relevant actors, whether inside or outside the G20, in a spirit of inclusiveness, multilateralism, and goodwill.